In Season 2, we are introduced to the character Olmar. Comparatively, we see little of him, and his place within the series also ends with the season. Yet the impact of his development is probably the most profound. Here is why Olmar is the best character. To begin, let's first look at three other characters, Thors, Canute, and Thorfinn. These three characters are similar in that they are pursuing some kind of ideal. For Thors, it's being a true warrior. For Canute, it's being a true king. And for Thorfinn, it's being a true pacifist. Yet, because of this, they also share the same problem, and that is, they are lost. They all have a goal without a path. Let's begin with Thors. He aims to be a true warrior, yet he only seems to use the term as it reflects the life he has only ever known, rather than a newfound purpose. Why did he not choose another word, like a father or a husband? Because from his actions, we only see two ideas, submission and selfishness. In the first episode, Thors gives up 8 sheep for a man who was as good as dead. Yet the sheep were something that was raised by the whole family, so by him making the decision without consulting the rest of them is a display of his selfishness. Then, when Floki arrives and coerces Thors into joining the Jomsvikings, he simply submits without consulting anyone again. And finally, with his fight against Askeladd and his men, Thor's choice of non-lethal violence results in Thorfinn being taken hostage, which results in Thor's giving up both his life and his child. So in the end, what purpose did Thor's ideal serve? Then we have Canute, who aims to create a paradise for the Vikings. He views others as sheep and he himself as the shepherd, likely a reference to his Christian upbringing. And just like how Jesus is considered a shepherd, he considers himself the Viking savior. And yet every step towards paradise is misery, both for others and himself. So what paradise could he possibly arrive at? At the end of the season, it hints of peace, although not necessarily having created paradise. But Canute's story has been whitewashed in a way. Historically, Canute paid off his army using taxes levied from the English, and kept 40 ships instead of just 16. And lastly, we have Thorfinn. He wants to create a country without slavery nor war, and in episode 9 he swears to not hurt anyone, which was a short-lived oath. But the core of his philosophy is to run away, and that it is better to be hit than to hit. So what possible salvation can there be? What of those who cannot run away? Then they share the fate of Einar's family. What of those who cannot take as many hits as he can? Then they share the fate of Arnheid. Thus the country that Thorfinn wants to found is really just a place for those who are lucky and strong enough to run away from the ravages of war already, almost like a pacifist Valhalla. And this is why I find these characters lacking. They are privileged in that they are cushioned from the full consequences of their own decisions. If they are attacked with a weapon, then they can simply fight them unarmed. If they wish to build a paradise, then others can die for it. If the country they want to build falls to violence, then they can simply run away. To use a poor analogy, it's like solving everything through the square hole. Now, when we look at Olmar, he was similar to these characters, as in the beginning, he himself had a goal, to be a warrior. But unlike the other three characters, Olmar is a man of neither ability nor status. So when faced with an insurmountable wall, instead of being able to just break through it, he only had one option: to give up. But his giving up is different to, say, a slave giving up his humanity and accepting slavery. Because what Olmar gave up was his hubris, and in return, he gained something that the other three characters could not attain, and that was contentment. When we look at what a goal is, it is normally thought of as an endpoint, like a final product. But what happens when you achieve it? What's next? Another goal? Then another? Because there can be infinite goals, yet only a limited life. And eventually, either your goals will run out or your life will. And either conclusion can only leave the feeling of discontent. Contentment fixes this dilemma by shifting the position of a goal from the end to the beginning. Let's use farming as an example. First, no one can actually grow things. If you gave a seed to a farmer and told them to start growing it in their hand, the farmer would look at you dumbfounded. Because all that a farmer can do is to prepare the right environment for the seed to grow, then let nature take its course. And the rewards that a farmer is entitled to is not their wishes, but simply what is returned to them for their efforts. Therefore, by letting things take their own action, there is no need to search for the correct path, for that itself creates the path. And by setting the goal at the beginning, it puts the emphasis on the things you can control. This can be likened to being at a bus terminal. The routes may be fixed, but which bus to hop onto is your choice. And that is why Olmar is the best character, because out of all the characters mentioned, only he has truly found life.